Thank you, David. Man, Reggie, Lady Love, Joy, you guys are just amazing, absolutely amazing. So much talent in this room, and how God has blessed us to have the friendship that we have with Judy. And she has touched all of our lives. And I've got the joy of sharing a couple of details here with you. These are scattered details that, and I'll keep them real brief because they didn't come from me anyhow, but I'll just give you a quick detail, a couple details about Judy's life. My name is Ken Abraham, incidentally, and Judy brought Lisa and me together a lot of years ago. So, anyhow, Judy was born October 7th, 1944. This sounds like an obituary, doesn't it? She's still vibrantly alive. Born 1944, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. in Valdosta, Georgia. Her daddy was a preacher. Can you imagine that? Her daddy was a preacher, pastored a church, had a large radio audience in the South. They didn't know what they were going to call Judy at the time that she was born. And somebody said Judith Ann, and they're still not quite sure where that name came from, but it's stuck, and she's had it ever since, and we're glad that she did. One of her early music influences, of course, was somebody that influenced so many of us here in this room, and that was Howard Goodman. But there are very few people that can actually say that they had Judy bouncing on their knee, but Howard Goodman could. He had that claim to fame besides so many other things with the Happy Goodman family. And Judy was literally, the Goodmans would come to their church years ago, and that's part of where Judy began to develop the love that she has even to this very day for gospel music. And there were plenty of times, and I'll just kind of jump with some of these stories because we have a bunch of folks who want to share a lot of details here tonight about Judy, and some of them are redundant, so I'll just give you a few. But with that gospel music influence, she and her sister started a group called the Sunshine Sisters. The Sunshine Sisters, and when they moved out west, and they kind of developed their harmonies along the line of the Blackwood Brothers. You remember the Blackwood Brothers? And the Sunshine Sisters kind of did that same kind of close harmony. And they ran into a fellow by the name of Merle Haggard. And Merle Haggard actually wanted the Sunshine Sisters to go along with Merle to work with them. They did actually work with Merle for a while, and one of the songs that Merle Haggard wrote out of his association with Judy and the Sunshine Sisters was Jesus Take a Hold. Jesus Take a Hold, and that was a great song for Merle. They sang out everywhere from the Hollywood Bowl to New York City, Madison Square Garden, and it just so happened that one night when they were in New York, that Rolling Stone magazine was covering some things at Madison Square Garden, and wouldn't you know it, years later, in the 50th anniversary of Rolling Stone magazine, who do they have a mention of but the Sunshine Sisters? You just can't keep Judy out of the magazine. She's just there all the time. More than anything, though, Judy wanted to be married. She wanted to be a mom, and she married Hal Spencer. Many of you remember Hal. And they had three wonderful guys, Steve, David, and Mike, and two daughters, Julie and Jamie. During that time, you might recall that Judy was very, very busy in the publishing business, the music publishing business. She and Hal had a great company, Man of Music, some of the incredible songs that have touched the world. Judy had a hand in some of those. Some songs like How Great Thou Art. All the songs, early songs of Andre Crouch, Through It All, To God Be the Glory. Judy was involved in all of those great songs. His Name is Wonderful. Wonderful, incredible songs like that. It is no secret what God can do. Songs like that Judy has had an impact on, and worked in the publishing industry, and then moved to Nashville. Of course, continued with the publishing industry, and with so many of her friends, the Oak Ridge Boys, Blackwood Brothers, Andre Crouch and the Disciples, continuing to work with so many of the musicians around here and on the West Coast. She became part of the GMA board, Gospel Music Association board. She was elected to the Gospel Music Association Board of Directors, and during that time, she influenced so many artists. She married Rex Nelon, you remember, and later on in life, her daughter Jamie married Brian Staggs. Julie married Adam Condy, and Max Condy is the son that came from that union, and they are all sitting on the front row here tonight to honor Judy. So yes. Most of you know that Judy was part of the Gaither Homecoming family for a number of years. She just had a blast doing that sort of thing. She appeared on so many of the Gaither projects, the Homecoming video series. But one of the distinctions that you may not know was that Judy was the very first president Yeah, that's right, female president, yes, thank you. The first female president of the Southern Gospel Music Guild. Judy was the first, and I think still the only woman president of the Southern Gospel Music Guild. She has also served on the Gospel Board of Directors, GMA Hall of Fame, where they inducted groups like the Lefevres, the Happy Goodmans, Spear Family, Chuck Wagon Gang, Statesman, Blackwoods, the Jordanaires, so many more of those, and Judy was a part of all of that. Because of her great work in Southern Gospel Music, the Southern Gospel Music Guild presented Judy a Lifetime Achievement Honor. And that Lifetime Achievement Honor is a tremendous thing, but it pales in comparison to the great honor that she has of leading so many of us closer to the Lord Jesus Christ. And that's really what Judy's life is all about. Thank you for that. Yes, indeed. Now, I have to say, just on a personal note, she invited me one afternoon to have lunch over at Sunset Grill. And she didn't tell me, but she also invited Lisa to have lunch at the Sunset Grill at that same time. And so Lisa showed up, and I showed up, and we were in Sunset Grill, and we all got our seat, and we got our drinks and that sort of thing. And then suddenly, Judy disappeared. Absolutely right. And Lisa and I have been together ever since. So thank you, Judy, for that. We appreciate it so very much.
Okay, Ken's a speaker, I am not. Just want to have that little disclaimer, and I'm very nervous. But I want to do this for my friend. I met Judy at Praise Gathering when I was in my early 20s, and we quickly became good friends and have shared many years of close friendship. These are some of the things that I learned from my friend over the years. Early on in our friendship, when I was a single mom, Judy would drag me along with her everywhere, often to invitation-only events, and sometimes I would be uncomfortable going, and I would say, "Judy, they didn't invite me." And she would quickly respond, "Well, I'm sure they meant to invite you." So I would go with her as her plus one, and I always thought that was the funniest thing, and have quoted it many times when I have sometimes been left off the list, or somebody else that was a friend was left off the list. I thought that's a great way to look at it, rather than being offended, to just believe they meant to invite me. You know, we need to look at things more positively like Judy does. My second story is one day we were heading out of town on our way to Florida with our girls, Julie and Jamie and Megan, and they were young girls, and we were going to Disney World, and it was around lunch, so we said, "Well, girls, we probably need to pick up some lunch before we go." Well, Megan, Jamie, and Julie could not agree on a fast food restaurant. One wanted McDonald's, one wanted Taco Bell, and one wanted Crystal's. And so I said, "Girls, you all have to decide. We can't go to 3 restaurants, you know, or we're going to be like forever before we've got a long trip to Orlando. It's 12 hours. And so still no one would compromise. And so Judy was the driver, and Judy, went through 3 drive-throughs, and an hour and a half later, we were on our way. It really didn't take that long. And later, Judy told me, "We can't give them everything they want, but this was something I could give them." Oh. And it cost me just a little time. And it really did make me think about, sometimes it's not that big of a deal. Some of the things we make a big deal. Okay, and then when we got to Disney World, we were just so excited. We met Lily Knowles there, and we went into Disney World, and we'd probably been there 15 minutes, and Megan becomes just very, very ill, nauseous, stomach upset. We thought we were going to have to go back to the hotel. So we were right in front of the castle, and Judy said, "We've got to pray right now." So it was me, Judy, and Lily Knowles, and Julie and Megan. And so Judy, Lily, and I, right in front of the castle, start praying for Megan, and it wasn't a quiet little prayer. It was a speaking in tongues, calling down heaven kind of prayer. Okay? And so we finished, and we looked up, and Megan and Julie were doing this. They were so embarrassed. They were just so embarrassed. But you all, Megan got better, like almost instantly, and we were able to enjoy our day. And it was a testimony to the girls, but it was a testimony to me that we can pray wherever we are, and we don't need to be ashamed or afraid. We can trust that God's going to hear us, and it works. So that was a real big lesson for me. And then I'm going to share this story. I wasn't sure if I would or not, because of the recent tragedy that we all experienced. But I believe it was born out of another tragedy that Judy experienced, something that she experienced early on in life. Sometimes as a single mom, when I was a single mom, I would get overwhelmed, like when my car would just randomly decide to stop or not start, or when my checks weren't in the mail at the right time and I couldn't pay my bills or whatever. And it was a tough little journey for me for a while. And I would come to Judy and I'd complain and just be so distraught, and I'd say, Judy, what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? And she would say, is anyone dead or dying? And I'd say, well, no. And she said, then it's okay. It's not that serious. Judy lost a son in a tragic accident. And it really gave me perspective. We can handle death and dying. But if it's anything short of that, we got to keep our perspective and know that it's not that worthy of us getting upset. So I've always remembered that, Judy, and thank you. And I have one last one, really quick. The last thing I wanted to share is something Judy would always say that now I say. You know how Judy likes to take pictures, and she's always taking pictures and capturing moments. Sometimes I would say, now this is a long time ago, so I don't say this anymore. I would say, I don't want to be in the picture because I don't look good today. I don't like my hair. I don't like my outfit, whatever, fill in the blank. Judy said something that's so true. She'd say, take the picture. In 10 years, you're going to think you look great. And I have to say, that is true. You are never going to look as young as you do today. You'll look back and go, wow, I was hot. So take the picture, capture the moments. Judy, I love you, my friend, and I value your friendship and the life lessons I've learned from you.
Amen.